Hi and welcome to the video. I'm Dame and this is Dame Over, and today's Apex Legends video is all about the patch that has been released as of yesterday. It's a live balance update that has gone live on all platforms. I'll be talking you through all of the appropriate patch notes and tell you what has been nerfed, what has been buffed, and what future updates we can expect in terms of Legends and weapon balance. All of this comes from the official Reddit page with Jay Fresh from Respawn as always posting, and he's also got some of the designers involved as well, Lee, Sean and Brent, who are going to give their own point of view and give us their thoughts on what the balances are and how they've changed the game, and also let us know a bit about what's going to be changing when Season 1 of the Battle Pass does actually finally drop. I've linked this post in the description, so make sure if you're interested you go and have a read for yourself. These guys go into detail about the development process and how they approach balancing and character tweaks and such like. But just to give you the quick notes version, they say that their goal is to make less frequent, better tested, higher impact changes, so it minimizes the effect it's going to have on each player after they've spent time mastering a particular mechanic, weapon or character. The idea being that you shouldn't have to check on the patch notes every few days or every week, and that if you've spent time, let's say, on Bangalore getting everything down with her, then they're not going to just chuck a huge balance change that will upset all of that hard work and that will start to affect your stats. I think this is a really good idea. Putting in minimal changes as you go along is great, and Apex Legends is already in a very good place in terms of balance between Legends and weapons, although there are some tweaks that we will talk about a little bit later on that have been necessary. So let's have a look at weapon balance to start with, and no prizes guessing which weapons have been nerfed first of all. Now there has been a very obvious and powerful trend of people combining the Skull Piercer Wingman and the Peacekeeper with a shotgun bolt. It's a very powerful combination. The whole point of these two weapons is that they are high risk, high reward. If you're able to land your shots and you're a higher skilled player, then you definitely will be getting more kills than those lower skilled players that are inaccurate. But it appears after running the numbers that the Wingman and the Peacekeeper are just a little bit too easy to use. So there have been a few changes to help bring these weapons more in line with the other weapons available in the game. So we'll have a look at the Wingman first of all. The rate of fire has been reduced from 3.1 to 2.6 shots per second. The Skull Piercer headshot damage multiplier has been reduced from 2.5 to 2.25. Hipfire has also been adjusted, so the base hipfire spread has been increased, and there's been a decreased rate at which the hipfire spread decays, which means it shrinks back down and becomes more accurate over time. This seems to make sense to me. I think the Wingman was just a little too good at those incredibly close quarters fights, and players were often just relying on the hipfire to do the work for them instead of having better aim than the other player. I think this will see it being used as a more mid-range weapon, so you'll be able to knock a person's shield off, maybe hit their health a little bit, and if they manage to get into cover, you follow up with an alternative weapon like a shotgun or the R99, for example. The Peacekeeper has had similar adjustments to it as well, but this is just when the shotgun bolt has been equipped. So the rechamber rate when a shotgun bolt is equipped, and therefore the rate of fire, has been reduced on all levels. The rechamber rate with a level 1 shotgun bolt has been reduced from 10% to 7.5. Level 2 is 20%, has been reduced to 13, and the level 3 mitigation is 25% to 16%. This reduction in fire rate is going to give opposing players a much greater window to take advantage of players missing their shots with Peacekeepers. So landing all those pellets and getting headshots at the same time is going to be far more rewarding. And just like with the Wingman, I think this will start affecting how players use the Peacekeeper. So the Wingman Peacekeeper combo is still going to be incredibly powerful. Let's say you use the Wingman to knock down some shield and some health, and you go in to finish them off with the Peacekeeper. That will still be incredibly viable, but it will stop players from wanting to run straight into a room and just try and rely on the Peacekeeper solely to take a player down from full health. That is unless you are a higher skilled player and you're able to land all of your shots, of course. I think these two adjustments will start shifting the meta towards those more spray and pray weapons, so something like the R301 and the R99, both are incredibly powerful and with the fast fire rate are very, very useful up close already, but I think those two weapons in particular will start becoming more and more popular. There has also been a reduction in availability in all tier zones for the Wingman and the Peacekeeper, so they're just not going to be on the map as often. Hopefully this adds in a bit of variety of loadouts, and these weapons will still be seen as the high tier meta weapons, and will therefore be far more sought after, especially for those high skilled players. There's also been another patch in terms of balance. There's been an increased availability of energy weapons and ammo in all zone tiers. This one makes perfect sense to me. With only 3 weapons using energy ammo, it was very scarce as a result of it, which meant that lots of players were choosing to not use those weapons, which is a shame because they can be incredibly good, especially with the right hop-ups attached as well. So hopefully this sees an increased usage in the Havoc Triple Take and Devotion instead of players just choosing to go with another weapon that will be guaranteed to have more ammo available. There's also a note on the P2020 and the Mozambique, neither of those weapons has received any buffs whatsoever, and the reason being is that they're supposed to be a bad weapon, essentially. There is a power curve of weapons, so there's going to be the worst ones and the ones at the top of the meta. These two are going to be the ones that you want to get rid of as soon as possible and upgrade. The idea being that these two guns in particular are only slightly better than choosing to melee an opponent. This isn't to say that they won't receive some buffs in the future or when the Season 1 Battle Pass does drop. Faster reloads with the Mozambique and barrel stabilizers acting as a silencer on the P2020 are just a couple of the ideas that I think would be viable, but the main concern with these two guns is that we don't see a large reduction in the amount of memes coming out each day. Now, some of you guys may have been noticing some disconnects when certain things happen in the game, and quite a few of these have been adjusted, so I'll leave the list up here. You can see that Caustic causing disconnects using his ultimate, that has been fixed. Pathfinder when activating a survey beacon, players disconnecting when removing an attachment, Gibraltar pulling up his gun shield, and also players causing a disconnect when entering spectate mode. All of these things have been fixed and hopefully won't be a problem in the future, but as always, like they say on the Reddit page, make sure if you have any problems, you notify them as soon as possible so they can start digging into it and trying to fix it. So some of the big questions that have been asked by the community and myself is how the hitboxes work, especially on the larger characters. At the moment, you are at a distinct disadvantage if you're using Gibraltar, Caustic and Pathfinder compared to some of the other characters. For example, Gibraltar has a hitbox that is at least 2.5 times bigger than that of Wraith, so obviously that puts you at a huge disadvantage when you're in a gunfight. And they discuss with us some of the ideas they have about how to rebalance it. They're first of all looking at adjusting the hitboxes so they better fit the character model, and if that is insufficient, then they're also considering some other changes, one of them being that a natural damage reduction will be inherent on each of the larger characters. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this one, to be perfectly honest. Some of the characters able to take more damage than others, I think in this game where having something like purple armor makes you incredibly spongy anyway, would be a bit of a mistake. I was really hoping the guys from Respawn were planning on making the smaller and medium-sized character models bigger, and therefore the hitboxes bigger to bring them more in line with the larger characters. And if those larger characters can take more damage than the smaller ones, then I think Pathfinder, Caustic and Gibraltar are going to very quickly become the first pick for a lot of players. Now, these possible hitbox changes aren't going to be implemented until the beginning of Season 1, along with some other minor changes to legend balance. So I'll talk you through what those changes are. We'll kick things off with Caustic. So his traps have had a reduced cooldown to 25 seconds from 30 seconds. There has been an increased radius and proximity radius that's been increased by about 10%. And there's also been the removal of the 1-second delay on the smoke dealing damage to players. Pathfinder has had a very minor buff. I don't even really know if you can call it a buff, to be perfectly honest. The number of beacons in the world has been increased from 10 to 12. I don't personally see it having much of an impact, but it is a change in the game, so there you go. Lifeline's care package has had a pretty significant adjustment in that there's been a complete removal of the chance of level 4 armor and helmets dropping, so that's gold armor and gold helmets. Wraith's Into the Void ability has had a slight nerf, so the cooldown has been increased from 20 to 25 seconds, and Bangalore's passive ability Double Time has had a bit of a nerf as well. The move speed has been reduced from 40% to 30%. With the exception of Pathfinder, I think all of these adjustments do make sense, in particular Wraith and Bangalore. So being able to use Into the Void more than once in the middle of a firefight I think is a bit too overpowered, and considering both of these characters have some of the smaller hitboxes in the game, increasing their agility and therefore making them even harder to hit I think was a bit out of line with the rest of the legends, but they are only minor adjustments. I don't think it was far off anyway in the first place, but this should help bring it all back into line. So those are the full patch notes for the latest update to Apex Legends. I'm going to say a very quick thank you to my Dame operatives, those of you guys supporting the channel through Patreon. You guys are incredible, and it's because of you I'm able to make content as often as I do. If you want to become a patron yourself, there's a link in the description and the pinned comment. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that sub button as well. Don't forget the bell button because notifications are still incredibly broken. Thank you so much, YouTube. That was sarcasm, by the way. And as always, share this video wherever you like. Until next time, that's Dame over. Peace.